So just start off with, tell me a little bit about just where you're from, your life, who you are, that kind of stuff. Give me your personal story.
Ladies first.
Yep.
Okay. I'm originally from Paducah, Kentucky, and moved here. Moved to Newcastle first, met Tim, then moved here to work at Indiana Wesleyan, which I did for a couple of years, and then we had children. Moved back to Kentucky for 4 years, then came back here.
Yep.
My name is Tim George. Tana explained our getting together. We've been married since 1985. I've been working in radio for about 45 years, mostly full-time, but just couldn't pull myself away from it. And until the stroke came along in 2022, and I've been in the wheelchair since October of that year. And God has been working me back and hoping I can get to a full recovery.
Tell me where you're from.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
Okay. Yep, you're
I was
good.
born in Bluffton and was there pretty much all of my life. And as Tanner said, we were in Kentucky for 4 years in the western part of the state, and the rest of the time has been in Marion or Newcastle. So.
So then you talked about the stroke. So talk about what's going on that day. That you remember, the pieces that you remember. You may remember it all. I don't know, but tell me what you remember and how things went about that day.
I had just gotten to the station about, I don't know, 5:30 in the morning, and just before 6 o'clock, I stood up from my desk and went down. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm not that old yet. I didn't trip over anything. Tried to stand back up. Left leg is dead. Left arm is dead. And then I think I realized at that point it was a pretty serious situation. I still felt pretty fluid. Fortunately, the only other person working at that time had gotten to work then and came through on his way to I don't know where, saw I was down, made the 911 call, and I don't remember much during the time that they were there until they got me to Marion General Hospital and put me in a helicopter after they treated me for a short period of time, but sent me on up to Lutheran.
So during that day, do you remember the plans that you'd already had? Do you know any of the stuff that was going to be happening that day?
Really, it was just, I guess, a normal day. I was just trying to prepare news and get ready for the day. I don't remember, truthfully, who the guests were that were coming in or anything like that. Sorry, Bill.
No, that's good. No, helps tell a story. All right, Miss Tana, what's going on in your world then as this is going down at the radio station? What's going on in your world?
Well, the man that found him called me and said, Tim fell and I think he's had a stroke, and 911's already here, and at least, he still has his humor, so he's making some jokes or something, so that made me feel better, but I just got to the hospital as quick as I could.
So did you get to the hospital there at Marion while he was still there?
Yes, he was still there, and they were trying to get his blood pressure down. I think it was in the 300s, and his blood sugar had been running in the 400s, so it was pretty scary, but I also feel like I was just on like autopilot, just kind of just handling whatever, not like a nervous wreck or like just totally out of it. No, just autopilot really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Tim, did you have any indicators before this happened? Is there anything that you thought about, or was there any indicators you could think of?
No, I didn't. Nope, not at all. It was different. I'd had a heart attack in 2008, and what was so strange about that was we had just gotten a treadmill, lost it, and I just finished putting it together that day that I had the heart attack. And that's a whole nother story. I won't get into the details.
So you talked about the fact that it was different. So difference between the stroke and the heart attack, you feel like? What kind of things were different?
Well, with the heart attack, I didn't feel like any parts of my body were paralyzed or anything that I could still move and all that. But with the heart attack, I was gone for a short period of time, if you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and had to be brought back and then carried out of a press box. It was just very bizarre. With the stroke, I just felt like I couldn't move at all. I mean, my right side was essentially fine, but it was scarier, I guess. The heart attack, I felt like, well, I've been brought back and I've got people here. I should be all right, hopefully. It became a little more complicated than that, but stroke, it was just, wow, can't move, or where do I go from here?
So Tana, what's your thoughts now? He's flying to the hospital and what's going on in your world? What are you thinking?
Well, seeing that helicopter take off, I took a picture of it just because it was it was such a weird feeling. And if I see that picture, it was just, I guess, just a scary feeling. But I think, still on autopilot, still thinking whatever happens, we can handle with God's help. So I guess that was just mainly it, and just wanting to get up there as quickly as I could.
So then describe what it looks like between the hospital and coming home. There's going to be steps there. So just describe some of that. What's it look like?
I just felt like I had a long way to go. I mean, and God has taken me through that without question, but just had people, therapy, I felt, they put me in different devices. One of them, they said I look like Iron Man, you just put you in there and try to develop your ability to move, and just gradually, fingers moving, toes moving, legs moving. It's a little bit unnerving when I'm sitting in a shower with a physical therapist trying to show me what I need to do to help, and the physical therapist is not a man. And talk about uncomfortable. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. So then therapy in a facility, and then we can't say the facility just for the sake of, well, you can, but I got to cut it out. So
Sure.
I'll get myself in trouble if I have one over another. So in a facility, then you get to come home. So talk to me about what it looks like. Either one of you or both of you, talk to me about what it looks like when you decide that you can come home to.
Well, I want to have Tana tell you what the people there wrote down on their report when she said that she would take me home rather than consider an option of, putting me at a skilled care facility.
Okay.
I had gotten this weeks later, but the doctor had written something to the effect that he was gravely disabled, and that wife thinks she and sister can take care of him, kind of implying that she's crazy. We don't think that's going to happen, just the way it was written. So that was. I'm glad I didn't see that before, but that was actually from the critical care or the ICU to the rehab hospital. So he had 5 weeks in the rehab hospital, and that machine thing, it made his legs move for him. And at first, the machine was doing 95% of the work. He just couldn't move his legs himself. But then they try to rewire your brain, and so it did begin helping him began being able to move on his own and go, walk on balance bars, I think, and they had a thing hanging from the ceiling, and it was like a pouch that he was in, and he walked along with that. So the last 2 days, though, they trained me to be able to lift him out of the chair into the car and into the wheelchair and back and in the shower and back. So That was a feat also because I think,
Yes.
I'm weigh a lot less. He was over 200 pounds at that time. And so, but that, I think that was a God thing. And also the training, because they just tell you how to do it so you don't hurt yourself. So.
So while all this is going on, it's obviously impacting your physical world, it's impacting your emotional world. Talk to me about any impact to your spiritual world.
Well, I think we both will say that this has brought us so much closer to God. I mean, we all know that our weakness allows His strength, and this is a perfect opportunity for me to accept that more, because all along in my life, I've been a person, just would rather do things myself. And I didn't turn help away, but I wouldn't seek it out even if I probably needed it. But now God has put, the church in my life more, the people at the church, people in the community. The outpouring has been unbelievable, and it's been so much easier to accept the gifts and the help and all this because of my situation. And I needed to learn that, and I'm glad that I have.
Hannah, talk to me about yours.
I feel like I've really just grown closer to God. One of my friends recommended a devotional Jesus Calling, and that has been really good because it's like Jesus is talking. He's saying, "I want a relationship with you. I want you to spend time with me. I really like that. Come to me, think of me at all times, whatever you're doing." And it's just so helpful because that's what I needed. I needed somebody there with me all the time because there were a lot of decisions to be made or just things to do that were difficult. And I just feel like my relationship, with God has really grown through this time.
Tim, you talked about the acceptance of help. What other lessons, if any, do you feel like you have learned through the process of what you've been through?
That God works miracles in your life all the time. I don't know why it took me so many years to realize that, but I look back on the heart attack, and there were so many things that happened that were not by chance. I think I've told you before, I finally learned that luck has nothing to do with it. God puts people in your lives in situations, and it was meant to be that way. But I think that I finally realized that there are, miracles that I've just not taken the time to accept or recognize. Small things, a step here or there that's better, feeling better, developing, my muscles better, appreciating her more, for sure.
So what does that look like in an everyday, on and off, getting along, not getting along? What's life like in this situation? Hannah seems to be tapping you, doesn't she?
I don't know. I thought I can talk about
Yep.
that for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been really good a lot of the time. I feel like prayers have been answered. He's made a lot of progress, but then we've come to a point where the progress slowed down, and then it has actually, I feel like it's a setback. I don't know how exactly to describe it, but his arm, the muscle just moves kind of on its own and it pulls against him. It's always done that a little. He really wants to be able to walk, and he has a cane, and he tries to do that. But his left foot is also getting harder to move, and then this arm's pulling against him. So that's been, a little hard, but that was happening a little bit, and I asked for prayer from our church. And later that afternoon, he actually got out of his chair and into the wheelchair by himself for the first time. So that was, yes, like a miracle, get answered a prayer kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then he improved, and then now we're kind of back where it's hard for him to get out of a chair again. It's been since, I guess January was when he was able to get out, and then he improved, and now just the last 2 or 3 months it's been going downhill. But try to muscle relaxer, that doesn't seem to be helping, so we're decreasing that. So he seems to be, his legs are getting stronger, but his arm is still pulling. So, but I feel like God finally, well, has said all along, whatever happens, you can deal with. And with him regressing, that was one that was harder, but I really feel like God made that really clear that you know, you can deal with it. And I've done a couple things for myself to help me, you know, deal with, you know, just that discouraged feeling.
All righty. Would you like to share that, or is that too much?
I would be glad to.
Yep.
Okay. Well, one thing, two of my friends have been coming to visit. One lives in Newcastle and one's in Richmond, and they decided that I needed a weekend away. So they paid for a room for me to come visit, and we hung out in Newcastle, and then I stayed in Richmond, and we went out to eat and shopped, and my friend scheduled a nap time, rest time, because that's what I said I wanted to do. I wanted to sleep in, I wanted to rest. So in between all the dining out and etc. But pickleball, that kind of thing. So that was really important, and that's something that was just weekend before last, and that was really helpful. Just to look forward to, and just good memories, and just time away. Oh, thank you.
Excuse me.
Yep, no trouble. We can edit that.
Okay, good.
I hope so.
Are you kidding me? I can make you twice as tall if I need to. We can do this now.
Yeah, good posture.
I can make me look thin. I mean, I can do just about anything, so.
Yeah.
That is work.
If you can
That is a miracle in itself.
Yeah, if you can make me walk, that would be
No,
really.
that would be good. I would agree, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And the other thing I've done is I was telling you earlier, I bought a little pool for the.
One more, sorry.
Yep, no trouble.
I bought a little pool for the grandkids, and it's big enough for me to get in, and I have this huge flamingo float, and I just get in there and float around while they're in it, or maybe when they're not. And they really enjoy that call every day. Can we come and swim? So that's been a joy for me.
Good, good.
Well,
Yep, just pick up, go ahead.
this is just something that fighting through this has been obviously difficult, but I can't imagine fighting through it without having God. And I hope that people that are watching this know that. And if not, that it's time for them to get serious about it, because you just have to have God's help. He puts people in your life that really make a huge difference. And I mean, we have had untold numbers of people pray and visit and text and send notes and bring food and financial support and everything else. And it's just, I don't know, it's so humbling. It really is. And even though we don't have to deal with cancer, and hope that we never do, and so many of you are, my heart goes out to you. We all serve the same God and all need the same God to help us, and I pray that for you. I know it's really helped us connect more than we ever have.
And anything you'd like to close out with, thoughts or something you'd like to say that's not been said?
I think that just to add to that is, and I think Tim has mentioned that already, is just accepting help. You know, that's something that was hard for me to do also. And you know, we didn't always need a lot of help, but then that changed. And I finally even got to the point where I'd make a little list of, you know, somebody needs to look at this leak or whatever. So if anybody would call and say, is there anything I can do? I really sometimes had things that I really did need help with and wasn't afraid to ask. So I would say that, and you know, don't be afraid to ask people to pray because they want to pray for you. And I feel like that has really helped us through this time.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add before I Closing down you can think of.